I call Nick Fletcher.
Thank you, Chair, and it's a pleasure to serve under your chairship today. As we have heard, the petitioners want to make a simple amendment that would clarify the Equality Act with regard to the interpretation of the word sex. This clarification would prevent serious problems from continuing. Firstly, we are in a position where some biological males believe they have a right to enter single-sex spaces, female changing rooms. Now, I suspect that when many think of this, they think of a grown man, trans woman, entering a grown woman's space. This, to me, is obviously wrong. But my real concern is what happens when it's a 6-year-old girl that's in that changing room. Somebody's daughter, somebody's granddaughter, somebody's niece. It just isn't right. Now, I want to make an aside, and you will see where I am going. I've worked in construction most of my life. Health and safety over the last 30 years has taken a real turn for the better. We now report near misses. That is a report where an accident could have happened, but luckily didn't. Maybe a tripping hazard scene or an oil spill. We do this to learn and to prevent accidents from taking place. Only put items in designated areas, or prevent the spill, or have spill kits on hand. This doesn't mean everyone was going to trip or slip, but some might. Therefore, we learn from a near miss and prevent an accident. Wise, I think we would all agree. So while our construction sites are getting safer, well done for the opposition for bringing in health and safety legislation, our single-sex spaces are not. So let's do what we need to do to clarify the Equality Act and make sure that no biological male can enter that 6-year-old girl's changing rooms. To me, this is excellent legislation and a must. A near miss reported to stop tragedy happening. This doesn't mean every biological male going into a female changing room was a danger, like not everyone was going to trip or slip. But it means some might, and therefore we say no, and prevent the possibility of something bad happening. This is why I support this petition, and I hope the government will too. However, I can also use this analogy on a near miss when it comes to women's sport. If we don't make this change right now, we could quite easily end up with no women's sport. Many young girls will see what is happening. Biological males winning in female sports, or perhaps a woman or girl being injured, and think, what's the point in trying? So let's sort out the Equality Act right now and protect our women's sport for good. In school, if we can stop the use of new gender pronouns, we will stop many issues for our young people later in life too. I'm glad we've been able to discuss this near miss today. I hope we can learn from this and prevent the tragedies that could follow if we don't. And for all those that think it's unfair, let me assure you, I believe we need to help and support those with gender dysphoria and treat them with respect too. But we need to do it while respecting other rights. And I feel I have to stand up for the 6-year-old girl in the changing room, the one who is confronted with a 50-year-old male who is going through a tough time. I am standing up for the 9-year-old who wants to stand in first place at the Olympics, but thinks, what's the point when a biological man will be there in her place? I am standing up for that 12-year-old allowed to use pronouns at school, who is being told a story that she can be something that she never can. I am thinking after her transition, when she wakes up one morning, when she's 25, and realises she can no longer have children. There's growing facial hair, her health is generally poor, bone density down, voice broken, no real friends, probably fell out with mum, who is now broken for letting her take those puberty blockers and hormone replacement tablets. I'm thinking of that girl sold a lie by the influencers who have now moved on to another ideology to make them money. No, in this place, we have to make the hard decisions to protect the vulnerable. I know the government will make the right decision and clarify the Equality Act.